She was too ordinary to matter, until the day he begged her for mercy. Bradley Blackwood slid the divorce papers across the table, his voice calm but cutting. You're just a mother of triplets, Monica. No vision, no edge, just average. Monica Carter signed without flinching. Caleb coughed in her arms. Elijah clutched her sleeve. Micah was still breathing through a nasal tube. Bradley stood up, adjusted his watch, and walked out, never turning back. 7 years later. He stood in the boardroom, surrounded by stunned executives. The buyout was done, but he hadn't met the new CEO yet. The doors opened. Monica stepped in, sharp, silent. 3 young men followed, poised, brilliant, hers. Bradley's knees buckled as he realized who now owned everything he once called his. And in the next 3 minutes, you'll learn why the woman he dismissed became the one he couldn't outrun. The room was cold. Too bright, too quiet. Monica lay on the delivery bed, skin pale, hair soaked in sweat. Her hands clutched the thin hospital blanket like it could hold her together. No family, no friends, no Bradley. Nurses rushed past her. 3 incubators, 3 cries, then silence. Triplets, all premature, underweight, one doctor muttered, checking a chart. We'll do our best. Monica turned her head. Through the glass she saw them, tiny, fragile, fighting machines. Caleb's chest rising like a whisper, Elijah's arm twitching. Micah didn't move. She reached out, but no one noticed. No one said, "Congratulations!" No one said, "You're not alone." Tears didn't fall, not yet. She wasn't allowed to break. Not now, not ever. Outside, the sky turned gray. Inside, Monica made a quiet promise. You live, I fight, all 3 of you. The letter still sat in a drawer she never opened. Massachusetts Institute of Technology, full scholarship, accepted. Monica had earned it. Top of her class. Her thesis on neural language modeling had stunned the review board. She remembered the night before she replied. A black screen, a blinking cursor, her hand on her belly, 3 heartbeats inside her, unplanned, undeniable. Bradley had held her then, whispered, You'll go next year, after the babies. I've got us. She believed him. The next morning, Monica clicked decline. Now, years later, the letter was yellowed at the corners, still unopened, a reminder not of what she lost, but of what she'd put first. Through a hospital window, she looked at her boys again. Micah blinked for the first time. She smiled. You were my decision, and I'll never regret you. The papers were already printed. Bradley didn't raise his voice. He didn't have to. Just sign, Monica. You keep the kids, I keep the company. Fair. She looked down. Fine print, legal terms, intellectual property. Everything they'd once brainstormed together, algorithms, product names, system designs, was now his. You're not a founder, he added. You were helping, that's all. Her lips parted, but no sound came. Behind her, Caleb cried. Machines beeped. A nurse waved for her to come back. Bradley slid a pen toward her. No threats, no yelling, just control. She signed. Not for peace, not for pain, but because her sons needed her. Alive. Free. Later that night, Monica stared at her reflection in a vending machine window. No title, no equity, no credit, but 3 reasons to keep breathing. You can have the company, she whispered, but I'm keeping the future. Snow fell like silence. Monica stepped out of the courthouse, coat thin, shoes soaked. No lawyers, no ride, no home. Caleb held her hand tight. Elijah cried into her sleeve. Micah slept, wrapped in a hospital blanket. She had no money, no plan, just a bus pass and a storage key. The divorce gave her nothing, no support. No share, not even the apartment. The city around her moved fast. She moved slow, 1 block at a time, 1 breath at a time. A stranger looked at her, then looked away. Outside a shelter, the sign read full. She didn't flinch. She sat down on a bench, pressed her children close, and whispered, This is not the end. This is just cold. That night, Monica didn't sleep. She mapped tomorrow, not with comfort, with need. The first version of the system had her handwriting on it, sticky notes, flowcharts on the fridge. Night after night, Monica shaped the logic while feeding twins and bouncing Micah on her knee. It should adapt in real time, she'd said. Inventory, HR, client data, one interface. Bradley had nodded, half listening, typing it into a pitch deck. Weeks later, that idea became Blackwood Core, the ERP software that made him a millionaire. The patent had one name, Bradley Blackwood. Her name didn't make it past the draft. She didn't fight it. She thought love meant sharing everything, even credit. Now, sitting in a public library with 3 toddlers beside her, Monica pulled out a napkin and started sketching something new. Lines, logic, language. "If I built it once," she whispered, "I can build something better." Monica's days were a loop of motion and exhaustion. Mornings she cleaned offices. The smell of bleach stuck to her skin. She wore gloves too thin and smiles too forced. Afternoons she delivered takeout. Pushing a stroller with one hand, balancing paper bags with the other. Caleb once dropped a bottle inside someone's gate. She didn't go back for it. Nights she logged into a battered laptop, entered data for 8 cents a field. Her eyes burned, but her fingers didn't stop. The boys slept nearby, stacked in jackets, curled on a blanket under her desk. One night Micah woke up coughing. Monica paused, held him, then returned to typing. Bills waited. Rent ticked closer. She had no safety net, just 3 mouths, 2 jobs, and 1 fire she wouldn't let go out. "One more shift," she whispered. "Then we rise." The screen was cracked. The battery overheated after 15 minutes. Still, Monica watched the same tutorial again. Intro to TensorFlow, Natural Language Processing. Micah lay across her lap, fever rising. Elijah coughed in his sleep. Caleb had a rash on both arms. She muted the video every few seconds to wipe a nose, adjust a blanket, soothe a whimper, then unpaused, watched, rewound. The words blurred sometimes, tokens, embeddings, model layers, but she kept going. She typed notes into the Notes app between diaper changes. Sometimes the phone froze. She'd restart. Wait, start again. No chair, no desk, just a tiled floor, a pillow, and a dream no one believed in but her. At 2:43 a.m., she finally ran her first sample code. The bot answered, "Hello." She smiled. "We were just getting started," she whispered. "AI built from rock bottom." The bank teller didn't make eye contact. "I'm sorry, Ms. Carter. Your credit score doesn't meet the minimum. We can't approve the account." Monica nodded once. No scene, no begging. She gathered the forms, slipped them into her bag next to a pack of diapers and a peanut butter sandwich. Outside, she checked her email. Subject, still trying. From Bradley Blackwood. The message was short. "A startup? With what money? Focus on raising your kids. Tech isn't for everyone." No signature? Just ego. Monica didn't reply. She stared at the screen until it dimmed. Micah tugged her sleeve. She looked down, smiled, and tucked the phone away. Later that night, she reopened the email. Not to read it again. To mark it saved. Just in case one day it needed to be answered? "Say it slower, Caleb. The bot needs to understand tone." Monica leaned over her laptop, adjusting the syntax. The boys sat in a circle, holding her old phone like it was treasure. Caleb spoke into the mic. "Hi. My name is Caleb." The bot replied, choppy but clear. "Hello, Caleb. How can I help?" Micah clapped. Elijah grinned. They took turns asking questions. "What's the weather? Why do cats purr? Can robots dream?" Each answer was basic, but to them it was magic. To Monica, it was more. This wasn't just an AI chatbot. It was proof. Proof she could build, teach, lead. She named it HelpBot, an assistant for small businesses to automate replies. Simple now, but scalable. As her sons kept testing, Monica quietly recorded the session. She didn't know yet. One clip would change everything. The conference room smelled like cologne and coffee. Monica stood alone at the head of the table. 12 suits, 12 blank faces. She clicked through her slides, explained HelpBot's backend, natural language flow, user growth potential, silence. One man leaned back, smirking. "A mom with a chatbot," he said. "That's cute, but we fund real tech." A few chuckles followed. Monica paused, closed her laptop. No defense, no apology. She gathered her notes as calmly as she could. Her fingers shook, but her spine stayed straight. As she reached the door, someone muttered, "She should be pitching parenting books." She didn't turn around. Outside, she sat on a bench and exhaled once, deep, controlled. Then she opened her phone, replayed her own pitch, not to feel shamed, to find where she'd go harder next time. Micah had borrowed her phone to play. Instead, he recorded. "Testing Mommy's robot," he said, tapping the screen. Caleb asked, "What's 5 plus 9? HelpBot answered, cheerful. "It's 14! They all laughed. He uploaded it to TikTok. No filters, no hashtags, just love. In 24 hours, 100,000 views. By 72, 500,000. Comment after comment. "Where can I try this?" "This is brilliant." Monica didn't notice at first. She was folding laundry. Then her inbox lit up. Subject, help bot. Potential collaboration from Dr. Emily Robinson, MIT. Applied AI Lab. She clicked. Read once, then twice. Dr. Robinson had seen the clip. She wanted to talk. Soon, Monica replied. Available any time, today if possible. Because sometimes the door doesn't knock. Sometimes it's held open for exactly 1 minute. Jason Whitmore sat across from her, silent, sharp-eyed. Monica stood again, same deck, same vision, but this time her fingers didn't shake. Still, her voice caught once. Slide 6, growth projection. She glanced down. Caleb sat by the door, drawing robots in a notebook. Micah gave her a thumbs up. Elijah mouthed, "You got this." She breathed in, steadied her shoulders. HelpBot doesn't just answer questions. It learns how your customers feel and speaks back in their language. Jason didn't blink. He clicked his pen once, then again. He leaned forward. "How many users?" Monica answered. Confident, clean. A pause followed. Heavy, measured. Jason tapped the table twice. "I'll need time." Monica nodded, smiled politely, but as she walked out, Jason looked at her sons, then back at her. "I've seen products," he whispered, "but not like this. To be continued in the next email." The email subject read, "Approved, seed round, $300,000. Monica read it twice, then a third time. Her hands froze on the keyboard. She covered her mouth. Tears came fast, silent. "Mom?" Caleb asked. "What happened?" She turned the screen toward them. Micah gasped. Elijah grinned wide. Then all three jumped forward, arms wrapping around her like armor. They didn't know what $300,000 meant, but they felt what it did. Monica buried her face into Caleb's shoulder, her voice breaking. "We're not surviving anymore. We're building." Later that night, she opened a new notebook. Title, Monica Carter Technologies. First line, hire a real team, scale HelpBot, make them see Boksu. She didn't cry again. She worked. And in that moment, the world finally gave her a yes. But she already knew how to move without it. She didn't hire from resumes. She hired from shelters, community centers, late-night coding forums, women like her, overlooked, undervalued, brilliant 6 developers. All mothers, all fighters. They worked from kitchens, libraries, borrowed office space. Sleep was optional, progress wasn't. Monica named the new version Natural Lang, a smarter, faster evolution of HelpBot. Real-time sentiment detection. Adaptive replies. Multilingual response logic. Elijah tested user queries. Caleb built feedback loops. Micah drew the new logo, a simple speech bubble made of code lines. At 3:12 a.m., Monica ran the first beta. It didn't crash. It spoke. Natural, precise, warm. She looked at her team on Zoom, exhausted, smiling, alive. "We did it," she said softly. "You built what no one gave you permission to." They didn't cheer. They nodded. They understood. Because when you've been ignored long enough, success sounds quieter, but it hits deeper. In just 9 months, Natural Lang grew by 300%. Small businesses used it. Schools adopted it. Healthcare clinics integrated it overnight. Tech blogs took notice. Then came the headline, "The Mother of AI, How Monica Carter Built a Startup from a Shelter Floor." It spread fast. CNN, Fast Company, Wired. Interviews followed. Monica turned most down. She didn't need spotlights. She needed servers. But one quote stuck. She said, "I didn't do this in spite of being a mother. I did it because I am one." The comment section exploded. She built while raising 3 kids? I've got no excuse left. Where can I learn what she knows? And quietly, Monica's inbox filled with messages from women, students, single parents, not asking for help, but asking how to start. She answered every single one. Every Thursday, the lights stayed on after hours. Monica opened her office to women like she once was. Undocumented, unemployed, underestimated. She taught AI basics on a whiteboard she bought secondhand. No tuition, no pitch, just space. They came with strollers, accents, notebooks full of hope. She showed them how to write a loop, build a model, think in systems. Not everyone got it right away. That wasn't the point. They saw someone like them, who had started lower and climbed anyway. One woman cried after her first working script. "I never thought someone like me could do this." Monica smiled. "I thought that too, once." The room clapped softly. No cameras, no hashtags, just code and confidence, and so the cycle flipped, from survival to skill, from silence to voice. Bradley Blackwood slammed his laptop shut. The report was clear. Silent acquisition, 3 rounds, buyer undisclosed, estimated control 42%. His CFO shrugged. Hedge fund activity, maybe. Could be strategic. Bradley stood, pacing. No hedge fund buys us in pieces. Not this quiet, not this fast. He called legal. No answers. Called the board. Same. Control was slipping, and he didn't know whose hand was taking it. That night he sat alone in his penthouse. 2 phones, 3 monitors, and a growing pulse behind his eyes. He whispered to himself, who would want my company? His inbox pinged. New message. Subject regarding upcoming transition. Meeting set for Friday. No sender listed. Bradley clicked. Nothing opened. Just a countdown timer. 72 hours, and he'd know exactly who. Bradley entered the restaurant 5 minutes early. Derek Vaughn was already seated, calm, precise, sipping tea. They had been rivals for years, passive, competitive, careful, but today felt different. You're the one behind the buyout? Bradley asked. Derek smiled. Not exactly. He slid a folder across the table. Inside documents, transfer of shares, a new operating structure. At the bottom, one signature, Monica Carter. Bradley froze. His eyes darted back to Derek. You're working with her? No, Derek said. She's leading. I'm following. Silence settled like fog. Then Derek leaned in. She didn't come to destroy you. She came to replace you. Bradley didn't move, didn't breathe. Outside, traffic moved like nothing had changed. Inside, everything had. And Monica hadn't even arrived yet. The boardroom was full. Suits straightened ties, screens flickered, silence settled. Bradley sat at the head, rehearsing control. The door opened. He looked up, then stopped breathing. Monica Carter stepped in, calm, sharp, unshaken. Behind her walked Caleb, Elijah, and Micah. Older now, taller, steady, each in tailored suits. Bradley's jaw clenched. His chair didn't feel stable anymore. She didn't look at him first. She greeted the board, extended a folder. As of today, I hold majority control of Blackwood Systems. Gasps, a few claps, mostly stares. Monica finally turned to Bradley. You once said I was too ordinary, she said. Turns out I was just underestimated. Bradley couldn't speak. His name was still on the wall, but hers was already on the future. And he realized he wasn't in the meeting. He was the announcement. Monica stood at the center of the room. All eyes on her. No slides, no notes, just memory. She looked at Bradley, once her husband, now just a name in her past. You said I lacked ambition, she began. That I was built for diapers, not decisions. Her voice was calm, solid. You walked away thinking I had nothing, but I had 3 reasons to fight. She motioned to her sons, standing behind her. Caleb builds neural interfaces. Elijah works in ethical AI. Micah just coded his first cybersecurity tool at 13. The room stayed silent. She continued, softer now. I didn't just raise children. I raised future architects of this industry. Bradley's face dropped, but Monica never looked down. You called them fragile. Today I call them co-founders. A beat passed, then someone clapped, then another. And Monica smiled, without permission. Caleb stepped forward first, calm, direct. Our AI interface reduced onboarding time by 43% in 6 months. We're piloting it with 2 Fortune 500 companies. He nodded once, sat. Elijah followed. Gentle voice, focused eyes. I'm designing algorithms to detect bias in machine learning models. No system is neutral until we make it so. A few heads turned. Impressed. Micah stood last, still just 13. Shirt slightly untucked. I built a firewall that blocks phishing links by analyzing sentence tone. It caught 5 attacks last week, including one aimed at this board. A quiet laugh echoed. Then silence. Monica watched them all, shoulders straight, eyes bright. She said nothing. She didn't have to. Her sons had become her proof. Not just that she survived, but that she built something unstoppable. Bradley walked through the lobby slowly, like a guest in a building he once owned. The marble floors were polished, the walls quiet. He paused by the display he knew by heart, his legacy wall. A photo of him shaking hands with city officials, smiling beneath the company logo, but it was gone. In its place stood a new frame. Large, clear, Monica, standing tall in the center. Her 3 sons beside her. No suits. Just truth. Arms linked, eyes forward. Underneath a plaque. Monica Carter and Company built from the ground up together. Bradley stared for a long time. He didn't speak, didn't blink. The guard nearby cleared his throat. New leadership always updates the walls, he said, part of moving forward. Bradley nodded once, but his chest stayed still, because this wasn't just a photo, it was a replacement. Monica signed the final transfer papers at 9:06 a.m. She now held 100% ownership of Blackwood Systems. The board expected layoffs, restructures, maybe revenge. Instead, she issued a company-wide memo. Effective immediately, retroactive profit sharing will be distributed to all former employees, terminated without cause between 2014 and 2020. Names were listed. Some cried, some called, most just stared. One woman whispered, "He fired me while I was pregnant." Now she received a check large enough to start again. Monica met with HR the next day. "We don't rebuild by erasing people," she said. "We rebuild by restoring what was taken." She didn't mention Bradley once, because power didn't mean punishment. It meant using the seat at the table to finally pass the plate. Monica stood beside Derek Vaughn at the press podium. No suits, no fluff, just purpose. "We're not here to celebrate an acquisition," she began. "We're here to open doors, ones we were told didn't exist." She turned to the cameras. "Today I'm launching the Carter Code Initiative, a nationwide training program for women, especially mothers, to learn software development for free." Reporters leaned in. "Not everyone gets a second chance," she said. "We're going to give first ones." Derek extended his hand. Monica shook it firmly. "This isn't charity," she added. "It's preparation for the workforce that's already coming. They just haven't been invited yet." The room erupted in applause. Monica didn't smile for show. She smiled because this was no longer just her story. It was becoming a blueprint. Bradley walked out of the building he once named after himself. No one stopped him. No one said goodbye. His footsteps echoed in the marble lobby, lighter than they used to sound, smaller. At the exit, he paused. A newspaper sat on the security desk, folded neatly, front page visible, headline, "She was never ordinary. The Monica Carter era begins." Under it, a photo. Monica smiling beside her son, sleeves rolled up, blueprints on the table. Bradley stared for a full breath. Then another. No rage, no regret, just realization. He turned away, but the headline followed him out, etched behind his eyes. Across the street, a girl in jeans typed code on a cracked laptop, just like Monica once did. Bradley didn't notice her, but she saw the paper, and she kept typing, because now, the world knew, ordinary had never meant incapable. The book was simple. White cover, black title, Beyond Ordinary. No subtitle, no bold claims, just her name, Monica Carter. She wrote it at night between meetings after her sons fell asleep, one chapter at a time. Stories of failure, notes from shelters, code snippets written on napkins, the pitch that failed, the one that didn't. It wasn't a manual for business, it was a manual for rebuilding. Within a week, it hit someone on Amazon's business and memoir charts. Readers shared quotes. "I was never weak, I was surviving out loud. They called me ordinary. That was their first mistake." Book clubs picked it up. College courses referenced it. But most copies sat on nightstands, dog-eared, underlined, lived in. Monica didn't care about bestseller lists. She cared that women were highlighting pages, because the story didn't end with her victory. It multiplied. 3 chairs, 1 pitch. Caleb, Elijah, and Micah stood side by side in a crowded investor room. No suits, just sharp code and clear vision. Their product, a privacy-focused AI that learns without storing personal data. Micah handled the demo. Elijah broke down ethics. Caleb fielded every question with precision. 3 minutes in, hands went up. "We're in for $500K. Add me for $250K more. $1 million. Full round closed." No negotiation, no second pitch. Just belief. Monica watched from the back. No applause, just pride. They didn't need her name. They had built their own. Afterwards, reporters asked how they did it. Caleb smiled, pointing to his brothers. "We grew up in the solution. They didn't inherit power. They learned how to build it." And this time, the legacy didn't start with capital. It started at a kitchen table. Monica stood on stage, no notes in hand, just truth. The crowd was quiet, not waiting for inspiration, waiting for something real. She looked out at them. 1,000 faces, all watching. "Ordinary is just a label," she said. "One people use when they can't imagine what you're capable of." She paused. Let it land. "I was called average, small, predictable. I didn't argue. I just kept building." The screen behind her lit up. Photos of her boys, the shelter, the first help bot sketch, the lobby wall. I didn't need validation, I needed a chance. So I made one. Then she smiled, not out of pride, but closure. Ordinary was never the truth. It was just the name they gave me before I proved them wrong. She stepped back, and the room stood up. Not because she asked, but because they saw themselves in the fight. Monica looked into the camera. No lights, no teleprompter. Just one final message. If you've ever been told you weren't enough, too ordinary, too late, too small. She paused, letting the silence breathe. You don't need to prove them wrong to matter. But if you do, make sure they remember why they doubted you and why they shouldn't have. She leaned forward, voice steady. Comment, I choose to rise if you've been underestimated. Say it loud enough that they hear it, even if they never say your name again. A second of stillness, then thousands began typing. I choose to rise, I choose to rise, I choose to rise. Some with names, some anonymous. But all rising, because Monica's story wasn't just hers anymore. It became everyone's reason to keep going.